BLOCKCHANCE 2021.
He is the founder and chief scientist at the DFINITY Foundation. Dominic is a crypto theoretician and entrepreneur. His recent research includes Threshold Relay and PSC chains, validation towers and trees, and USCIDs. He previously ran a venture-backed MMO game using his own distributed system that hosted millions of users. Please welcome this morning, we'll give an in-person welcome to the live-streamed Dominic Williams. We miss you here in person, but we're glad to see you virtually.
Yeah, I'm sorry I couldn't make it, but I'm glad to be here virtually. So anyway, hello, BLOCKCHANCE. I'm glad to see you. I'm sure there's a bunch of people out there in the audience that I know. It's exciting times, obviously, in blockchain these days. There's a lot of interesting projects around. And, DFINITY is one of the original projects. Work started many, many years ago. We really raised significant funding initially in February 2017, more in 2018. We built out a huge R&D organization that we've been going for years. It's actually, the DFINITY Foundation actually runs blockchain's biggest R&D operation by far. We're a major primary contributor to the Internet Computer blockchain project. So without much further ado, I'm going to run you through an updated deck, which will give you sort of update on the project. Can we get that deck going?
There's the deck. You kind of got us in your view, but we can go with this. There we go.
Okay.
Yes.
But they're seeing that, right? They're not seeing the right one.
Now
Fantastic.
you're all set.
Okay. All right. You can see that. So let's just go back and whiz through this thing. Okay. So the mission of the DFINITY Foundation is blockchain singularity. We're quite a big org, 200 plus people. We've actually got one of the biggest cryptography departments in the world. I don't know of any other organization that hires more famous cryptographers, but we've got cryptographers, computer scientists, engineers, and spread across the 3 research centers worldwide and lots of remote teams. There are other organizations in the space too. The Internet Computer Association is a members organization you'll hear something a lot more about in 2022. Also not for profit, and its purpose is to support the ecosystem. So our mission is blockchain singularity, which is essentially the migration of humanity's systems and services onto blockchain in their entirety. So obviously to do that, you need a world computer, and we believe today the Internet Computer is the first and only true world computer blockchain. And since the network's launch in May this year, it's been steadily scaling out its capacity. Bearing down on 400 million blocks processed. Currently, it's running at about 28 blocks a second. You'll see that ramping up rapidly next year. I mean, eventually it'll be into the many thousands of blocks per second. The challenge we're trying to address is that traditional blockchain is too complex for users and isn't true Web 3.3. The real reason for this, of course, is, traditional blockchains are just too expensive to run anything on. They're not efficient enough. And to give you an idea of why that's the case, consider for a moment that 1 gigabyte of smart contract storage on Ethereum will cost you currently hundreds of millions of dollars. 1 gigabyte of smart contract storage on Solana, say, will cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. And clearly that makes it makes them too expensive to use for, storing end user data. Like, there's just no way today you can economically, for example, store images on a blockchain. So as a consequence, today most dApps, really run primarily from the cloud. There's a cloud website is built in the cloud, and that website stores the majority of the user data and performs the majority of the processing. And on the back end, it talks to a blockchain, makes a few calls typically, if you're dealing with NFTs, stores a hash on the blockchain. If it's DeFi, obviously, performs some sort of relatively lightweight financial calculations. So that's part of it. The other part is that it's pretty difficult for users. Today they typically have to download a Chrome extension from Google's Chrome Web Store. Then they have to load that with some cryptocurrency. And whenever they make an interaction with the website running on the cloud, that will initiate a smart contract transaction on the back end. They have to send some payment for the gas. And that means they have to, preload that wallet with cryptocurrency which they've acquired on an exchange. So that's a kind of barrier to entry. You can't just land on a dApp website and start interacting with the underlying blockchain. You have to first download this wallet from the Chrome Web Store, preload it with cryptocurrency, and be able to make transactions to pay for the gas involved in the transactions you're initiating. So this is obviously cumbersome for users, but it's not just cumbersome. It's insecure. Like, the user has to trust that the wallet they downloaded from the Chrome Web Store hasn't been tampered with in some way. The user has to trust really that the website they're interacting with, which is running off Amazon Web Services, hasn't been hacked, either by someone working at Amazon Web Services or someone getting access to the account. It's actually difficult to even know you're really interacting with smart contracts on the back end. I mean, you sort of, you can interact with the website, and if you're a technically proficient user, of course, you can go to a block explorer and try and examine changes to the smart contracts. But it's just it's a cumbersome, insecure system. For me personally, I struggle to even call it Web3. Web3 for me would better be everything running off the blockchain. So the internet computer is created by the world's most advanced blockchain protocol. It's called Internet Computer Protocol. It's powered, the blockchain's powered by a token of the same name, ICP. And the internet computer finally realizes the dream of a world computer. The world computer was a concept that first arose in the Ethereum community in 2014. And that's what I sort of dedicated my life to back then, the incredible idea that we can kind of extend the internet using an infinitely scalable, highly performant blockchain, and eventually all of humanity's information systems can be built on this thing. The internet computer is a platform for smart contracts, and you can build anything: Web3 dApps, SocialFi, GameFi, DeFi, NFTs, and even traditional websites and enterprise systems. The important point is that no cloud services are needed to do this. So another important point is the internet computer is actually hosted by a sovereign physical network, which sets it apart again from traditional blockchains, which often run the vast majority of their nodes in the cloud. There's no cloud involved in the internet computer whatsoever. It's hosted by a network of special node machines. So to give you some idea of the numbers we're shooting for, in 10 years time, we expect there to be billions of dApps and contracts on the internet computer, thousands of subnet blockchains, which are transparent to code, by the way, on the internet computer, millions of node machines, which are hosted in thousands of data centers. Now, the network is built by independent node providers who are owner operators of node machines, and they install them in independent data centers in different geographies and jurisdictions around the world. The internet computer hosts a new kind of smart contract called canister smart contracts, which are very, very fast, and most importantly, can be run in parallel and therefore can scale. So today, the internet computer is the only blockchain capable of truly running smart contracts in parallel. They actually implement something called the software actor model, where each contract is a bundle of WebAssembly bytecode and persistent memory pages that bytecode alone runs within. And these contracts communicate with each other by sending messages. And these messages, of course, are function calls and function call results. And it's because of the adoption of that architecture, which can run smart contracts deterministically in parallel, that internet computer developers are able to build scalable dApps. And of course, it allows the internet computer to scale its overall on-chain capacity. So, now developers build Web3 dApps by uploading Canister smart contracts to the internet computer. And crucially, no cloud computing is necessary, because the Canister smart contracts on the internet computer are capable of serving HTTP. They can serve user experiences directly into browsers. How is this possible? Well, smart contracts on the internet computer, obviously, as I mentioned, serve web, and they also pay for their own computation. So the internet computer uses what's known as a reverse gas model. In the reverse gas model, smart contracts pay for their own computation, which frees users from having to send gas payments with every transaction they initiate. You can just land on a web page served by a Canister smart contract and start interacting with the smart contract directly without any intermediary like Amazon Web Services. And that's because you don't need tokens. First of all, there's a reverse gas model. And secondly, the internet computer introduces a really innovative, exciting new blockchain authentication method. It's an anonymizing blockchain authentication method called internet identity. And this essentially allows you to create internet identity anchors and assign devices to these anchors that support a protocol called WebAuthn. And the internet computer internet identity system will certify the list of keys inside those devices, and it allows you to anonymously authenticate yourself, for example, using a fingerprint sensor on your laptop, Face ID on your phone. And it means that the public key material never leaves these special chips inside modern devices, so it can't be stolen. And when you authenticate to different dApps on the internet computer, each dApp sees a different pseudonym. They don't see the underlying internet identity anchor you're using. And this, of course, is very, very different to traditional blockchain, where all of your interactions with the blockchain are tracked by your public key. Internet identity gives you much higher security because you're not handling key material. It gives you much greater convenience because you're just using the fingerprint sensor, the Face ID. Of course, you can use YubiKeys and Ledger wallets if you want to. And it also anonymizes you. You can't be tracked. So this is a really big advance. And it also works hand in hand with this reverse gas model and the fact that internet computer smart contracts actually can serve web directly into the browser without intermediaries. And it's part of this overall framework that just makes it possible to build dApps and services on the internet computer that run in some ways similarly to traditional services, but they're of course running off a blockchain, and access is governed by cryptography and things like that. Okay. So how does this all work? Obviously, the technology behind all this is very complex, and you can see it on the DFINITY website. Just get how it works. But it'll take you a long time to sift through all of the new cryptography. Better just looking at the results. When a transaction updates state on the internet computer, it's finalized in 2 seconds. When it's just examines state, and produces some kind of result, we call it a query transaction, it's finalized in milliseconds. Now, to give you an idea of the progress, let's just look at traditional blockchain. Bitcoin takes about 40 minutes in expectation to finalize a transaction. Ethereum 15 minutes, Cardano 2 minutes, and Solana 16 seconds, or at least that's what's claimed. Never quite sure about Solana stats. And the most important thing, of course, is that it just brings costs right down. So, on the internet computer, smart contract costs are similar to traditional IT costs. And, if you compare the cost of building if you compare the cost of running a system built using smart contracts on the internet computer blockchain, it's in the same ballpark as, running a system built using legacy IT, on Amazon Web Services, say, with web servers and databases and all that stuff. The difference is absolutely colossal. So, on Ethereum, the cost of a gigabyte of storage is highly variable. I think it's, the market's taking a breather now, so it's probably down at about $200 million a gigabyte. I haven't checked it out. It was up at like $500 million a gigabyte. Like, these kind of costs, it's just too expensive to store anything other than a few numbers on the blockchain, which is why, when you use traditional blockchains, you really are building on the cloud. You're not building on the blockchain. By comparison, it'll cost you about $5 a gigabyte a year on the internet computer. And we expect that cost to come down over time, but it's stable because when the network runs out of capacity, it just scales out. People aren't competing for a limited capacity. As the demand for capacity grows, the network just scales out, which of course is completely revolutionary. Even blockchains that claim to be super fast and efficient, like Solana, I believe the cost of a gigabyte of smart contract data on Solana's, I saw the other day someone saying it was $800,000. I mean, look, that's not going to work for SocialFi, right? I mean, a user, if you have a chat service running off the blockchain, one user can easily have a gigabyte of data in their account once they've been sending some video clips and images and things like that. So this is an absolutely important, crucial advance, because without bringing down the cost, as we've done here through advanced cryptography and computer science, there's just no way you'll ever be able to build on blockchain. When you hear today, blockchain saying, oh, this or that DApp is built on our blockchain, they don't really mean that. It's a load of nonsense, frankly. I mean, what they really mean is that the DApp is built on Amazon Web Services, which serves the web pages, which stores all the data and performs all the computation, and then occasionally makes a few calls on the back end to the blockchain to do some token transactions or something like that. To us at DFINITY, that's not really Web3, and that's not really building on a blockchain. That's something else. It's not even a decentralized application, really. It's not a DApp. It's a blockchain application. It's a blockchain. It's an application built on Amazon Web Services that makes a few calls to a blockchain on the back end. It's not really fair to even call them DApps. They're BApps, blockchain applications, and they're not really even Web3. Web3 is when you build on blockchain and nothing else. So we believe that the internet computer is the one and only true world computer, and it's the one and only true Web3 platform. And the advances that have made this possible are extraordinarily exciting, and obviously I invite people to go and check out the code and in the how it works section on the DFINITY website and look at some of the work that's gone into making this possible. The good news is that developers and entrepreneurs are pretty smart people, and without the need for huge grants or investment or anything like that, the internet computer ecosystem has been growing fast, completely organically. There are more than 1,000 developers now building on the internet computer. It's very, very exciting sort of grassroots organic ecosystem. There's some big projects coming out already. There's a project called Origin that just raised some money at like a 300 million valuation that tracks provenance. It's also, breaking into some sort of mainstream, currently mainstream blockchain fields like NFTs. But what we're really excited about is SocialFi and GameFi and their kind of convergence in the metaverse. It's SocialFi and GameFi that are going to bring, the billions of users into blockchain. So, SocialFi blends social media with DeFi functionality, which means to give you an idea how this might work, there's actually a project, a DApp on the internet computer called OpenChat. It's on the way already to like 100,000 users, and currently, if you look at it, it provides, within the web browser, it provides functionality that looks very much like WhatsApp. But early next year, that OpenChat service will assign control to a community DAO and run a decentralization auction. And after it does that, and it's running under the control, of the community, a bit like essentially a blockchain extension, it's going to introduce tokenization. So, what you're going to see is that your, blockchain chat account is also a wallet, right? And a crypto wallet. So you'll be able to send Bitcoins and ICP and NFTs using chat messages. You'll also be able to do other things like, notarize documents and sort of DocuSign-esque functionality and negotiate on trades and perform atomic swaps and things like that. So, is it a chat service? Is it a wallet? It's both. It's SocialFi. You're also going to see that the governance tokens behind OpenChat are going to OpenChat's going to start airdropping those to its users who are online and can prove they're not bots. So the users of OpenChat will become owners of the service and part of the team, essentially, because if you can airdrop governance tokens in a chat service to millions of users, you've now got a huge business development team that's going to advocate for that service and bring in other users. I think GameFi is going to be absolutely huge. Obviously, you can imagine just a simple game that runs on the blockchain that's got some very clever features that stop bots playing, that pays out Bitcoin to whoever gets the high score, that kind of thing. But these are really very, very simple examples. Developers and entrepreneurs are very creative and innovative people, and it's at this stage, I think, impossible to predict the kind of innovations that are going to appear with respect to the mergers of social media and games with DeFi and their sort of further convergence within the metaverse. We've already got a bunch of talented content creators working on internet computer metaverse projects, and I'm very excited to see what emerges there. Now, our pitch to you guys is look, change the way that you're pursuing decentralized projects, Web3 projects as entrepreneurs and developers. Aim for full decentralization, which will enable you to tokenize in much cleverer ways and incorporate community funding. January 2022, it might be a bit later. You're going to see on the internet computer projects using this sort of super DAO functionality. They're called service nervous systems. The technology is derived from the network nervous system DAO that actually runs the internet computer currently. It's the network nervous system, for those of you that don't know, is probably the world's best DAO. It's got more than $10 billion TVL. It's got thousands and thousands of users participating in voting, and it's processed many thousands of proposals already in the 6 months it's been running. And that DAO, the network nervous system, controls the internet computer blockchain. And it's enabling the internet computer blockchain to sort of evolve and improve almost in real time. That same technology is going to become available to DApp developers in the new year, and we already know of like 50 plus projects that are planning on following this sequence. So, I'm going to give you 4 steps. The first step is build true Web3 services using the internet computer. The corporate cloud is kryptonite because, if you're running on the corporate cloud, you're not decentralized. The developers are responsible for, the service, and that means you can't apply advanced tokenization. So you need to pass control of your service to a service nervous system. It's a community DAO that controls the service. The next generation of internet citizens wants tokens and they want decentralization. They won't accept anything else. So you've got to build real, true Web3 dapps that don't run in the cloud, that run off the blockchain, and then pass control to DAOs. In the case of the service nervous system framework, once you assign control of your, your service to a service nervous system DAO, it'll automatically run a decentralization auction. After creating a governance token ledger, some of these governance tokens will be given to the founding team, others will be sold in the decentralization auction, others will be reserved for end users. The funds that are raised by the decentralization auction don't go to the founders. They become, if you like, service providers, contractors to the DAO. The community controls the funds raised. So it's very different to the ICOs of old. The community funds, takes control via the DAO. The community raises funds and the community keeps control of those funds. And finally, step 4, now that your service is a blockchain extension, leverage the power of advanced tokenization to grow and win. The internet computer allows you to build dapps and services that run 100% from blockchain. All the data's on blockchain, all the computation's on blockchain. The smart contracts are serving the interactive web content directly to users, and the code is being updated via the DAO using very sophisticated new DAO technology derived from the network nervous system. And that means you can apply really advanced tokenization strategies that it would be difficult to apply if you're really a fake Web3 DApp, which is really, mainly running on the, keeping all your data on the cloud, performing all your processing in the cloud, serving, the web pages from the cloud. If you do that, it's very, very difficult to apply advanced tokenization, or at least if you do it, you're taking a major risk. I'll finish up by mentioning, a couple of other things that are coming. The internet computer is powered by something called chain key cryptography. Again, this is something that's extremely exciting. If you go to DFINITY.org, go to how it works, you can find some papers, explaining the mathematics and so on. But essentially, it allows the internet computer blockchain to sign interactions, for example, with users and with other blockchains. And you can just see that these, you can see the blockchain state is correct and that your interactions are correct just by looking at these signatures that have been created by the chain key. It also enables, this is something that's coming, it also makes it possible for the internet computer to create and sign transactions on other blockchains. And this is making it possible for our cryptographers and researchers and engineers to integrate the internet computer with Bitcoin. So Canister smart contracts on the internet computer are going to get their own Bitcoin addresses. This is very, very different to what you see today with bridges and side chains. I think Badger DAO just got hacked, $120 million of Bitcoin just went missing. It's very different to that. Internet computer smart contracts will have their own Bitcoin addresses, and when they send and receive Bitcoin, the Bitcoin moves on the Bitcoin blockchain, which of course is fantastic. Effectively, Bitcoin is going to get the world's most advanced smart contract technology. It'll have, the Bitcoin community will have smart contracts, and the internet computer community will have the benefit of, I don't know what is now $1 trillion of liquidity. That's stage 1. Stage 2 is that we're going to integrate the internet computer and Ethereum. So internet computers, Canister smart contracts can call into Ethereum smart contracts and vice versa. And we think these two integrations are going to be very important for the industry Okay, I don't know how we're doing for time, but I think that's it from me. Shall I exit out of this?
You can, and we can say goodbye to you if you can get yourself back up on screen. You did an amazing job.
Okay.
The clock just ticked to 0. That's amazing, and you couldn't even see it. So good timing there,
cool.
Dominic. Dominic,
I'm
thank
here.
you so much, everybody. A nice round of applause for Dominic Williams. Thanks, Dominic. Stay safe, stay well, yes?
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
BLOCKCHANCE 2021.